the storyline for the dictatorship versus Team ETW was whoever won owned the company. So I don't know who won, but I'm assuming
it was ETW.
It was Yeah. Okay. So that
Which would have been
sense.
really sick if we had the dictatorship do it. That would have been nice.
We should have, and then that could have been cut the tapes, end of story.
And unfortunately, we don't know who won here, because that's where the tapes end. ETW tape 24 is like half a tape, like 10 minutes, and it does get into some type of recap from Battle for Leadership, I guess was the name
That's
of the show.
what it was called. Yes,
and so we're guessing ETW won, maybe tied or something along those lines.
I remember it was like a swerve that like turns out that somebody was like actually representing ETW because Punisher Ronnie didn't show up to that.
Okay,
and we had to fill in for that, and neither did Ashley. Because at that point Ashley and I weren't dating anymore. But no.
Well,
personal gets in the way of business, man.
Yeah,
every time.
The show must go on.
You gotta be the champ. You're just stunting. As soon as you get around the belt, you just wear it.
Dude, I don't think I ever won this belt.
No, of course you didn't.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think I ever won that belt either. From assholes.
Time will tell.
Yeah. Right. So the tapes end there. Why did the tapes end there?
Because at that point, I want to say it was me taking over, and then we were there was that, and then Dom wanted the VHS tapes, and we had like a little fallout because of that. And then because I was so hyper focused on recording it and then making a music video and posting it on the internet, then I'm like, well, this. In hindsight, obviously, I was like, no one's even watching these. No, we don't care. I don't care about these tapes. I cared about. In the moment, obviously now it'd be nice to have, but back then I was like, we don't have a TV show. Why are we doing this? Like, let's do this for the now.
Right.
But then that caused a rift.
Yeah, so I had always, you can see them there. You'll see ETW tape 12, and then there's 22, 23, 24, and then there's HWC, right? So at the end of tape 24 is like the build up to, what was it called? A Battle for Leadership?
Yeah, right.
And then it did happen and it did get filmed, but it never got put on. So basically, like, my mom was like shelling out the money for those tapes. I just don't necessarily remember, but I would assume it would have been at like the dollar store.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, man, like I need more. And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, all right, well, if we're sharing all these things, like maybe I can get people to pitch in and stuff. And then that's where that happened.
Yeah, I didn't have a job, so I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to pay for these.
But like, no, Josh wasn't gonna do it either.
Yeah,
like, he was not on board for this. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm kind of stuck here because like I need to get these to transfer them because this is how like I know how to do like video. So, like, a Battle for Leadership happens,
right,
and some other stuff potentially happens. But after that, I'm just like, well, I am just gonna quit and take my business elsewhere and continue doing this somewhere else because this is the way I know how to do it.
Right.
And then that's what I did.
So in the meantime, you were like, we'll talk more about the message board type stuff later, but at the time, like, you were flying on that hill. Like, you were trying
to me, because that's what mattered to me, because I was posting these music videos and then getting critique and feedback and then actually learning, getting advice on, hey, you guys have been tying up the wrong way this entire time. Do this with your left arm. Do your arm drags with your left arm. Like, that meant more to me than anything. And then I actually had the same type of camera as Dom, and I would just record it and then put it on the computer and then do that. Then I would just reuse the tape. So I think at the time I didn't quite understand why when you were asking for the tapes, I think my initial thought was, well, why don't you just reuse the tape? Like, why you just record over it?
Like the camera.
I think that was my initial thought.
Yeah,
but
it wasn't. I mean, like I said, it wasn't just you. It was you and Josh specifically were who I was asking. So I think that when I got a no from both, I was like, I mean, I'm still gonna do it.
Right. And that wasn't because like I was like, oh, Dom, you're a son of a bitch, or screw you, your idea is terrible. It's like I didn't know how I can't do this. I'm a 14-year-old kid. I don't have a job.
It's funny to think that we couldn't have done both. Like, in hindsight, like, we could have put them on the internet and continued this, but like, regardless, like, it's so interesting that like there is a little bit more history of ETW. It's just not there.
It's not on VHS
But like,
right.
So like HWC, when it becomes a thing, like is existing at the same time that ETW is still existing.
Right.
Which is a really unique thing.
And then this is where you guys were running, like, getting closer to getting the base, like running more independent style shows and stuff. That's what Josh was telling me about.
Yes, and it's funny because I remember thinking that, like, the idea of Dom starting a whole new company was really dumb because we were so we were struggling to get wrestlers as it was. I was like, well, we don't have a lot of wrestlers to begin with. Who are you going to get? You know, like, how is that going to work?
That is how you strong arm people.
Yeah, right.
It's you quit, create, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna also do this, but I'm gonna take away your assets, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things was, well, I need a trampoline.
Yeah.
What do I do? Okay, JP, you have one. How about we do this together, and I'll strap you up in a month. And you'll have the belt, right? It was like
I'll give you the belt.
It was simple to me how to do this. So I just felt like it was like for me, like dude, like I'm 32, I'm about to be 33, but like in this time frame, dude, I was like just ready to just win. Like that was my mindset. I was like, F y'all, I'm out.
Right.
ETW can suck my balls. I'm going to HWC and we're going to do the same thing.
Right.
And I felt very vindicated.
Right.
And I can't lie, I still do. But it was perfect because they still went together. Like we still did HWC versus ETW. So like the last little things of ETW, like the way that it faded out, it still all happened together.
Yeah, like we did reunite.